Welcome back to another review, ladies and gentlemen. This time we are covering Loki Season 2, Episode 2. My name is Anthony Salic. Before we get started, please be sure to hit the like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. Alright, so second episode of Loki. We're finally back. And I think, what was it? I watched the episode last night. I'm doing this in the morning, so I kind of have to remember some of the things that we covered. So the opening of this episode takes place in the mid 70s, where Loki and Mobius are basically chasing Hunter X5. And Hunter X5 is basically having a normal life in the old 70s, in which he's a movie star. And the whole opening act of the episode is basically Loki and Mobius chasing Hunter X5 and wanting to question him for where's Sylvie, what are the temp pads that they've been messing with, and trying to overall see what's been happening behind the scenes. So they capture X5, they bring him in for questioning. They try to do like this good cop, bad cop interrogation with him, and it kind of goes good, it kind of goes bad. They're basically trying to find these answers as to where did Sylvie go, what are they doing with the temp pads, what are they trying to do to the sacred timeline, things like that. So damn, my phone's blowing up. Okay. So we get a little bit forward, or we move a little bit forward with the episode. We find out a couple of things that really take us back to the whole multiversal thing. For starters, the multiverse, obviously we know that it's now in full effect with branches pretty much going everywhere. There are different timelines that are happening. And one of the things that happens in this episode that we'll later learn is that they're trying to get rid of all of these different branches. They're trying to prune all the branches in order to keep the sacred timeline stable. Otherwise, if they don't, it can have an overload, as we learn later with OB. I'm sorry, I don't know why I called him QB. We learn with OB that he is trying to help stabilize the different branch timelines, but in order to do that, he's going to need either the approval or the help of Miss Minutes, or a variant of He Who Remains, aka a variant of Kang the Conqueror, which I do have a little bit of a theory later on when we get closer to the end. So we fast forward a bit. Loki, Mobius, they're interrogating X5. It doesn't go good. Loki and Mobius almost get through him, but they end up turning it on themselves, and they pretty much end up Mobius actually ends up hitting X5, and Loki almost ends up losing his cool. So they get some pie. They're over here planning their next attack or their next strategy. And we finally get closer to the end, in which Loki essentially tries to torture X5, basically trapping him inside one of the cubes, the time cubes. I don't know what it's called. And then shrinking it in order to make it seem like he's going to crush X5. But it ends up being a trick, as they pretty much end up getting information out of X5 in order to know the whereabouts of where Sylvie is and what is the TVA's rogue agent's plan. So we end up finding out where they go. They go to, I believe it's the 1980s. I think it might be the 80s, because that's what the McDonald's looks like. They pass by an old-fashioned McDonald's. Sylvie's there. She's working, which we last saw at the post-credit scene where she ends up at, but now we see her full-time, just full-on working at McDonald's. It's pretty cool. I love the retro look of the McDonald's. Very, very cool, and very awesome. Loki and Sylvie end up reuniting, and the whole point of their reunion is that Sylvie is still mad at Loki for the ending of season 1, although Sylvie is kind of the one who started this whole thing, so I don't really see why she's really mad at Loki when it should be Loki being mad at her. I don't know, that's just the way I see it, because why are you mad at somebody when you literally caused the entire multiverse to go insane? So, um, they pretty much end up talking. They talk about how the TVA and the rogue agents are trying to do something in order to hurt the sacred timeline, but they don't know what it is. We later find out from X5 that the TVA, the rogue TVA agents, their plan is to take a bunch of time bombs. I don't know what it's called actually. It might be something else. And basically prune about 30% of the branch timeline, or the branch timelines. Exactly. Yeah, branch timelines. And so Sylvie, Loki, Mobius end up going to where the rogue TVA agents are. They pretty much try and stop them, but it unfortunately doesn't work because we get to the end of the episode, the big climactic part of the episode, in which we basically see a whole bunch of timelines, a whole bunch of branch timelines literally disappear in order to keep the sacred timeline stable. And then we end up learning also from Hunter B15 that this essentially resulted in the deaths of billions and billions of people, because those timelines had people and lives, and now they're all gone. So in exchange for keeping the sacred timeline secure, you essentially kill billions upon billions of people. And it's pretty brutal. It definitely does give you, I think, the scope of it, and especially because the MCU has been tackling so much of the multiverse. You know, you think of like projects like What If, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, you know, those projects that have tapped into the multiverse. But LOKI really gives you a sense of the scope of the multiverse, in sense of like, it's cool to visit like one universe or view this one variant of a character, but behind the scenes in the TVA, the fact that so many universes are just being disintegrated in order to keep one stable, it's kind of sad, really. I mean, it definitely does give you the scope of how terrifying this whole multiverse thing is. And I think that when we get onto future episodes, especially with the involvement of a He Who Remains variant, I think it's going to be really sort of scary and more intense. Like the scope, I think, or the scale is going to be way bigger than how it was in like the ending of season 1 or the other projects that we have seen throughout the MCU. So yeah, overall, it was a great episode. I think that covers, I mean, they travel back to capture X5, they interrogate X5, and then they find Sylvie and try to stop the TVA from pruning the timelines, but it overall doesn't work. And we also learned that OB is building a device in order to help keep the multiverse stable. However, they need a He Who Remains variant in order to activate it. So my theory, kind of going back to the theory that I stated earlier, I think that we've seen in the trailers that Victor Timely, who we know is a Kang variant, is going to be in the show. And I think that there is a shot with him in front of the TV. He's in the TVA at some point throughout this series. So I'm leading to believe that they're going to get kind of the Kang variant that really isn't much of a threat, which is going to be Victor Timely, because he takes place, or he lives in the early 1920s, which doesn't really have that much of a technological advantage as like a He Who Remains or as a Kang the Conqueror. They're going to try to go get a Kang variant that is pretty much a low threat, a non-threat to be exact. And so I think that's what they're going to try to do. And by using Victor Timely, they're going to try to get him to be able to, or they're going to get his help in order to stabilize the multiverse and try to keep everything normal. So I think that's what we're going to be seeing in future episodes. Overall, the episode was great. A little less confusing than episode 1. I remember seeing a lot of people talking about how episode 1 was really confusing, especially when you got into the whole TVA underground bunker with the temporal loom. I think that's what it's called. I still don't even know what it's called. I just remember a lot of people saying that how confused they were with the first episode, and although it was beautifully made, it was very confusing in terms of storytelling. Hmm. But this episode was really better. There were some things that I was really confused about. The biggest one being the final shot. This is something that I'll probably have to see again, but someone mentions a line that they're trying to. Someone mentions a line. One of the good guys mentions that the rogue TVA agents are trying to destroy 30% of the branch timelines. But in the ending shot, when they're all mourning the deaths of the people, it looks like the whole branch timelines have been disintegrated, and the only one that remains is just the sacred timeline. So I'm a little bit confused about if they eliminated all of the branch timelines or if they just eliminated 30%. I want to lean more towards the 30% because if they literally just destroyed everything just to make it into one single universe, then I think that's going to be kind of a anticlimactic thing. So I'm pretty sure they only destroyed 30%, but I'm going to have to go back and check. Either way, solid episode. The one thing I love about this series is the sets. Oh my goodness, those sets are made so well. I don't know. I just like to pay attention to like the background stuff, but like when they were at like the McDonald's or in the TVA or in the 70s, like it looks so good. I love it. Oh, we also get to see LOKI fight a little bit more when he's going up against X5. He uses a lot of his what is it? His green magic, his enchantment magic. We see him use like shadows in order to capture X5. It's really, really well done. I really do appreciate and like it. Good to see LOKI be more of a fighter. I know that's something that we haven't really gotten with this series. We have seen it with like the Thor films and the Avengers films, but the season 1 of LOKI really didn't dive deep into that. And this episode gave us a bit of that. So I greatly appreciate it. Overall, I think last week I gave this episode 1 8. I'm going to give this an 8.5. Better storytelling. It's great. It's beautiful. But I think that there's still room to improve, especially as we get on with like episode 4, 5, and 6, the latter half of the season. I think we're going to be really amping things up for later on. So anyway, guys, that'll be it for my review. If you guys did enjoy, please be sure to like. Thank you guys so much for the love and support. I remember last week's episode, we got like over 200 people, 200 views. It was insane. So thank you guys so much. Oh no, 300. I'm just checking right now. So again, thank you guys for the love and support. Again, thank you guys. You guys are truly the best. I'm forever grateful for you. And yeah, until next time or until next week, I'll see you guys later. Peace.